brother Munyoro, but he said that the delegated legislation committee is still grappling with the question of what is adequate public participation. May I tell Honorable Munyoro, the Supreme Court of Kenya had a ruling that settled that question of what is adequate public participation. And therefore, you don't need to even debate it in your delegated legislation committee. But Honorable Speaker, and we are in the process of doing a bill which will be coming here to actually define public participation in line with that Supreme Court ruling. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this, this motion for the partial divestiture of Safaricom, of the government of Kenya in Safaricom PLC. Honorable Speaker, I've sat here since this debate began, and I've listened to many members and the issues they have raised. And top among those issues is a question of share valuation. Honorable Speaker, I have listened to, including the last speaker, the Honorable Bunyoro. They say they are not settled on share valuation, but none of these people who have spoken have given us an alternative method of valuing the Safaricom share that gives us a different price, Honorable Speaker. I've heard many of them say, oh, you single-sourced KCB as a transaction advisor. I don't know who told them it was single-sourced, because the report does not say that. And what we are debating here is this report. Whichever way KCB Capital was sourced to be the transaction advisors, I was wishing any of these people who have, fortunately there are less than 7 members out of 349 members who have stood in their place to oppose this partial divestiture. And none of the 7 members who have opposed has detailed to us that this share has been undervalued, overvalued, because we have this alternative valuation model, because share valuation models are things that we learned in school, including Honorable Munyoro. And he knows, Honorable Munyoro, whether it is the income-based or the market-based share valuation models, you and the other 6 people who have stood here to oppose should have told us from the market valuation approach. And it is detailed for you in this report, a very detailed report done by the committee. And they tell us from the market valuation approaches, with EBITDA, they had a low of 22.32 shillings and a high of 33.5 and an average of 26.19. Under the PE multiples approach, they had a low of 10.62 and a high of 25 shillings. And I hear many of them have pegged themselves on the question of PE, PE. And you know, Honorable Munyoro, being honest, that PE has its own limitations, and you can never use the PE ratio alone, because it can be skewed by simple things as one-time costs. For instance, the one-time cost of the investment by Safaricom in Ethiopia can skew the PE ratio for Safaricom. And you know that. High debt in an organization, I don't know the indebtedness of Safaricom, but high debt possibly can skew the PE ratios of a company. And Honorable Munyoro and the many others, except those who are intellectual conmen and masters of political deceit, know this. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, all these models, the valuation, the income-based valuation models, the discounted cash flow approach gave a valuation of 18.51. The discounted dividend model gave a valuation of 23.61 shillings. The volume-weighted average of that share, the volume-weighted average is the market value that value was trading at as at the time the sessional paper was brought to this house, was at 27 shillings and 50 cents. Common sense again, Honorable Speaker. You don't need to have attended any economics or accounting class. Will tell you the law of demand and supply. Even the children who are seated in the public and speakers gallery will tell you there is something in economics called simple law of demand and supply. If you flooded the 6 billion shares that were on offer, what Vodafone is buying into the market, naturally the market price would have gone down. Why, again, Honorable Speaker, the other thing I've had members raise is why Vodacom? Why didn't you go for other suitors? There was Airtel, there was Telcom. Why Vodafone? They are a proven partner with Safaricom. They are already in the company. And I had somebody say, oh, this is insider trading. And I dared, Honorable Speaker, ask that member who was speaking about insider trading. Insider trading is when you sit as a chair of a committee in this house. For instance, Kimani Kuria, as chair of finance, or if you sit as a chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, and you use information that has come under your purview as a public officer to use that information to go to the market and buy shares and make a huge profit. That is what some of us have done, Honorable Speaker, and I dare say, because the person who was saying, oh, because the CFO in Safaricom has been seconded to that company by Vodacom, this is insider trading. Insider trading is when you used your position as the chair of the Budget and Appropriations Committee to go and trade in shares of one energy company and make huge profits. That is what is insider trading.
In law, it's called unjust enrichment.
Yes. Insider trading is unjust enrichment.
Yes.
And those people who...
It's actually a criminal offense.
It's a criminal offense. And those people who are lecturing us here, some of them are people who have been involved in insider trading, especially in KPLC shares. These are facts, Honorable Speaker. Facts of life. And we will name them and shame them, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, what is the other issue that has been raised? Concerns by Kenyans, have they been adequately addressed by the committee? They have all adequately been addressed. Whether it is a question of jobs by Kenyans, in the report it is adequately addressed. Whether it is a question of the shared prosperity business model that Honorable Munyoro was speaking about. The committee, Honorable Speaker, if Munyoro cared to just read part 4, that preservation of the existing business model with Safaricom PLC dealers, agents, and other business partners, that the Cabinet Treasury CS shall ensure within 10 years of the divestiture, there shall be no material change to the current shared prosperity business model in Safaricom PLC. That caters for our agents, that caters for dealers, distributors who work with Safaricom, and that is catered for. This is why, Honorable Speaker, this additional resolution. This is why, Honorable Speaker, these additional resolutions were even published in the order paper, because they are conditions precedent to the approval. And if the CS National Treasury, Honorable Munyoro, does not ensure this happens, we as members of Parliament oversighting the National Treasury, we will be here to answer to us, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the other issue that was raised was by Honorable Wandeto today was dividends guaranteed. Honorable Speaker, if only Honorable Wandeto had cared to read page 33 on dividends that are being paid in advance, that question has been answered. If you only care to read the resolutions of what we are passing, again, the effective date of 1st April, there is a reason behind dividends for this year. But we're also getting an additional 40 billion shillings in advance dividends. These dividends, Honorable Munyoro, because you are an accountant, and I'm addressing you because you are an honest gentleman, that the National Treasury noted that GOK is receiving 40 billion today and repaying 55 billion in 6 years. That implies this is a funding of at 5.6%. If I borrow from the words of Honorable Junet, surely, where are you going to get 40 billion shillings at 5.6% today, other than in a deal like this? Honorable Speaker, allow me to say this in conclusion. These people that you see oppose this divestiture in the House and outside are pained. And they are pained by only one thing. Only one thing, Honorable Speaker, that if this divestiture succeeds, we get the 240 billion shillings, just like the IPO in Kenya Pipeline succeeded with 106 billion plus into the National Infrastructure Fund. These people will have nothing else to tell the people of Kenya. The political deceit, the intellectual conmanship that some of you have engaged in the recent past is coming to an end very soon. The end is nigh. I want to beg that we support this partial divestiture because it is good for Kenya, it is good for our economy. Honorable Kaluma can inform me, he's very well schooled.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. Speaker, on the question as to why Vodacom, saving that these shares are listed at NSE, in company law, where you have a majority shareholder, and Vodacom currently is at 40%, our government is at 35%, the other individuals are at 25%, meaning Vodacom is majority shareholder. If these were not listed shares, Vodacom ordinarily under the Companies Act is required to be given preference in their sale. by any internal shareholder.
Preferential and preemptive, they may even have preemptive rights to buy these shares. But Honorable Speaker, let me conclude by just adding to what Honorable Kaluma said. If they cared to read this report, this very detailed report, page 115, clause 485, the committee had this to say on that issue, that in evaluating the rationale for selecting Vodacom Group, the Joint Committee recognized that negotiating with an existing strategic shareholder minimizes execution risk, preserves market confidence, and avoids potential governance instability that may arise from introducing a new controlling or influential shareholder. Vodacom in this deal was the best partner to work with. I beg to submit and support this divestiture and ask all of us when the time comes, let us approve it with no reservations.
Honorable members, I have been requested by the mover of the motion, the Honorable Kimani, that he has rushed to a very urgent appointment, and he requests that we stay the matter for reply. And that being the case, and you're going on recess today, Majority Leader will place the matter before the House Business Committee on the 1st of April, when we resume. Are we resuming on 31st or 1st? On 31st of this month. Then we will allocate him time to reply. He also indicated that he has received a lot of complex contributions, and he wants to respond to as many of them as he possibly can. I've acceded to that. Next order.
Order number 12, Committee of the Whole House.
Hold there first. Before we go to that, allow me, take your seats first. Allow me to acknowledge there is a group of visitors in the public gallery called Classical Conversation Community from Dagoretti in Nairobi County in the public gallery. I welcome them to the House of Parliament. KJ, we don't have time to allow you to, that are your constituents. 30 seconds.
Mr. Speaker, you're a philosopher and you know the place for the artists in the community. I take this opportunity to welcome this group to the House of Parliament where discussions are done. And Mr. Speaker, in a wholesome